with us who's going to talk a little bit about adding dryer vent cleaning as an add-on service. So without further ado, let's let him get started.
Hey Jessica, thanks for that little introduction. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to talk about dryer vent cleaning. Now, there's been talk on and off on the WCR forums over the last few years in relationship to dryer vent cleaning. A lot of people are starting to get into doing this kind of thing. A lot of multiple service companies are starting to bring dryer vent cleaning into the fold. So this is not so much a talk about how to do this service, because it's really pretty straightforward. It's more or less a talk about what is it and how you can implement it into your business. So first of all, let's talk about what it is. What is it? Dryer vent cleaning. Well, we all know with window cleaning, it's a very visual service. We're improving the looks of the windows. We're improving your customers' views. But then we take a look at a service like gutter cleaning. It's not something that the customer really sees. It's more or less something that they know. It's a maintenance service that has to get done. You know, what's up there in the eaves? Is there any debris that may cause problems, causing water to flow over the gutters and down the side of the house? This is the same type of service when we're talking about dryer vent cleaning, because it's really about what's inside those dryer vents that could cause problems to my house. Now, fortunately for us, your local news has probably helped you out already by talking about dryer fires. It's been pretty much a hot topic, and no pun there about the fire and hot, but it has been a hot topic over the last few years, both the dryer fires and what's causing them and what to do to help prevent dryer fires. Well, basically, dryer vent cleaning is nothing more than cleaning all the lint debris out the vent system between the dryer and your outside vent hood. That's all it is. So it's very much, like I said, similar to gutter cleaning, except in this particular case with the dryer vent, with the lint buildup, it actually becomes more than just a hazard of, let's say, water seeping and causing foundation problems. The lint buildup will actually cause your dryer to run harder, hotter. The lint buildup can fall back into the machine. If it touches any of the hot components, it can cause combustion, and lint is very combustible. And that's why dryer vent fires are so terrible, because the fire just grows really, really quickly, quite rapidly. So this is something that the news has been talking about a lot over the last few years. Insurance companies may have been talking to homeowners about it, how often you should check your dryer vents. So this is a service that obviously needs to get done. So who needs it? Our second point, well, obviously anybody who has a dryer, which, if you're a residential window cleaner, that's basically all your existing clients, plus, anybody else you want to market to. And at this point, when we ask who's doing this kind of service, well, up until recent years, it's mostly been duct cleaning service. The guys who, do your air ducts, your air conditioning ducts. But the last 2 or 3 years, it's really grown quite popular, like I said earlier on, with the multi-service companies. This means like your handyman services, your window cleaning companies, pressure washing companies. So who does it? Well, it could be you. It could be something you can easily add into your existing business. Now, I want to talk about the two main approaches to incorporating this into your business, and I basically come up with category A and category B. If Jessica could move to the next slide for me. Now, category A I classify as basic maintenance. If we're going to go back to the relationship to gutter cleaning, this is the service technician who simply goes up, clears the debris, removes it off the property, and says, your gutters are clean, everything should be set, you're all good to go, and we'll see you again next year. Pretty much when you're doing a basic dryer vent, all you're doing is cleaning out the lint, like I said earlier on, from the end point of the back of your dryer to the outside hood vent. Anything else above and beyond that is what I would call category B, full service. And these types of extra add-ons would be like rerouting a poorly designed vent system, doing repairs to an existing vent system that, say, it's coming apart or it's got a bad elbow, or retaping the vent, or doing any other kind of repairs that in some cases may even mean going up into the wall. So we're going to first start off with the basic maintenance category A. So Jessica, if you could move to the next slide, please. Okay, so in performing the basic maintenance, you don't really need a lot of expensive equipment. In fact, one of the most popular consumer-based equipment out there for doing dryer vent cleaning is what they call the lint eater kit from Gardas. If many of you are already using this, I've seen from some of your posts on WCR, you've already been using the lint eater kit. You can find it just about any huge website like Amazon.com. I sell it up here in Canada. Who knows, maybe WCR might be bringing something like that in eventually down the line. It's a very affordable kit. It's aimed at the consumer market. However, it has like pretty much a 5 out of 5 star rating on Amazon.com because it really does a great job. It's consumer based in price. However, I've talked to a lot of people who've been doing dryer vent cleaning longer than I have, and they, quite a few of them have been using this kit as well. There's also add-ons that you can give your clients, such as a lint alert system, and it's a simple little connect to the existing vent. It measures the airflow inside the vent and will alert your customer when it's time to get them cleaned again. It kind of measures the airflow, and so as the airflow starts to get more and more restricting over time, it has like a little LED indicator. So there's little add-ons like that that you can give them. Other tools that you're going to require are a shop vac, preferably one with a blower, and because there's pretty much 2 different ways to go about cleaning a dryer vent using the lint eater kit. You can do it from the outside, which if any of you have seen the lint eater or a similar system, it's basically a rotary brush system that gets connected to your cordless drill, and you're pretty much just snaking your way through the vents with this rotating brush. And as you're doing that, if you're doing this from the outside of the house, you'd have the dryer being turned on the inside of the house, blowing air through. So as you snake your way through, it's basically blowing all the lint outside. The other method is to do it from the inside, where you would use a shop vac, and you would disconnect the vent from the dryer, hook it onto the with this hose adapter, and then onto your shop vac. So as you're snaking your way through the vent from the inside out, you're actually pulling all the loose lint back down the vent and into the shop vac. So that's that's another handy tool to add, the shop vac system. You don't really need to if you're going to just stick with doing it from the outside. You can just use the dryer as the blower to blow the lint out. Some of the other tools you might want to add are flashlight, so you can take a look inside the vent and inspect your work. Obviously, a multiple screwdriver bit kit, socket wrench kit for disconnecting dryer vents. You're going to also want to wear gloves and some protection like goggles or dust masks, because it does get pretty dusty. And that's pretty much all you need to do the dryer vent cleaning service. The only thing you're looking at about anywhere from $100 to $150 worth of equipment. Really quite cheap. I mean, it's like window cleaning, and you're buying most of the tools just once, and then after that it's all labor. So it's a pretty good add-on. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money to get into. Later on, when I'm going to talk about category B, the full service, we'll talk about a little bit more high-end stuff. Okay, so let's see. How long does it take to perform this service? I've done this service in as little as a half an hour in best case scenario. I've had some that have taken closer to an hour. If you're dealing with a dryer that's in a basement and it just pretty much vents out to the main floor, or if it's a main floor located dryer and vents out to the main floor, it shouldn't take you any more than about a half an hour to do this service. And it's only if you're going to be getting into the full service you could actually be on a job site for 2 or 3 hours, depending if you have to do any repairs or rerouting of the vents. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty simple. I would say it's even more simple than gutter cleaning, and a lot safer because you're not on ladders for the most part. There are situations with newer homes where the vent system is actually going out through the roof, and this might be something you may or may not want to take on. It all depends on how comfortable you are with ladder work, especially going up on roofs, how you are set up for doing tying off, and having all your safety in check there. So, as I said, it doesn't take a long time to perform this service. Some people have asked, well, what kind of certification or license do I need to do this service? I've always kept for myself the service that I perform to be within the realm of what a homeowner can do. I'm not going to be doing anything more than what the homeowner would do if they had bought this Lineator kit or another consumer grade kit on their own. Because of that, there's really no extra certification needed. Now, if you were to call up a duct cleaning company today and ask them if there is any kind of certification, they'd probably say yes. And they're going to say yes, obviously, because you're taking work from them by just being your smaller service company doing this as an add-on service. But they might suggest that you go to the NADCA, which is National Air Duct Cleaning Association, to get certification. I got to tell you, I've taken a look at their website and I've read over their material, and there's almost nothing on their site to do with dryer duct cleaning. It's all pretty much for the HVAC, which is a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, information about air quality and the like. There's really very little about dryer vent cleaning. So like I said, these companies are already doing duct cleaning. Of course, they're going to have this kind of certification. A window cleaner comes out and does dryer vent cleaning, they might say, well, is he certified? Well, you really don't need to get certification for this kind of work, especially if you're just doing non-invasive stuff, just like just the basic cleaning. So one of the other aspects, other than certification or any kind of licensing, one of the legalities that you should be thinking about is notifying your commercial business insurance company. You're going to be adding this new service. They probably only have it on record that you're doing window cleaning or gutter cleaning, maybe a couple other, power washing, whatever. You're obviously going to want to bring them up to speed that you've now added this other service. Some insurance companies will be perfectly okay with it. They can say, okay, we'll add it onto your policy. There's no change, no increase in premiums or anything. But you definitely want to do due diligence. And I mean, that goes for any kind of service that you add on. Even if you were just doing window cleaning at one point and added gutter cleaning, you owe it to yourself to let your insurance company know what other services you're adding. Even screen repair. When I added screen repair service, I called up my insurance broker and I made sure he knew, and everything's all good there. So some people are not really sure how would you charge for this kind of service. And I think it really all comes back down to what do you want to make hourly, your billable man hours, if you will. We, in the window cleaning, we may say we charge X number of dollars per window. In the gutter cleaning, we may say we charge X number per linear foot. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to how much money you want to make at the end of the day per hour. And so, like I said earlier, in best case scenario, it's probably going to take you about a half an hour to 40 minutes, 45 minutes for the average house. So you're going to price it what you'd expect to bring in for window cleaning for that length of time. Now, I started it 2 years ago as an add-on to my existing window cleaning clients, and I did an introductory price of $70 for a basic cleaning when they got another service done. So, I mean, 70 is a good starting point, but I've seen people charge as much as 150 to, again, do that 30-minute, 40-minute job. Especially if you're going to have a minimum. A lot of people have minimums, which I certainly recommend. If you're going to go out just to do that one service, you definitely want your time covered. not just your billable man hours, but you're also your back office costs. So that gives you an idea of where you can go there. I just want to talk about service description and guarantee wording to avoid. The reason why I say this, guarantee wording, I talked very early in the beginning here about dryer fires and the alarming news broadcasts on what's involved in a dryer fire. I usually tell people who are getting into this service to, don't play that up. Don't really put any kind of guarantee or, after I'm done, you're not going to have a fire, this kind of thing. You certainly don't want to get into a situation of liability. If they ask you, they say, well, I hear about this should get done to help prevent fires and what have you. I mean, you can simply just reinforce that and say, yes, it is a contributing factor to preventing fires, but I won't put anything in writing that there's a guarantee there, because quite often dryer fires actually start because of a faulty, either faulty wiring, a bad motor or something in the dryer running hot for whatever particular reason, a spark is caused inside the dryer for whatever reason. That's not your concern. That's not what you're taking responsibility for. You're only taking responsibility for removing the lint, like I said, from the end of the outside of the dryer out to the vent hood of the outside of the house, and that's it. So you may include some kind of wording on it, but really, like I said, downplay it. Really, what you want to play up is the efficiency of the dryer being improved, because the airflow is a lot better. There's a the dryer will run more efficient. It won't be running as hot. You'll probably experience being able to get your clothes dried faster. Usually when people are experiencing problems with their lint buildup, they'll notice they have to run the dryer a couple of times, or at least several minutes longer than they normally would when they first got their dryer. And they think their dryer is actually performing poorly, but it's not really the dryer's fault. It's the clogged vent. So that's pretty much covers category A, the basic maintenance. I want to move on now to category B, which is the full service. And I alluded to it a little bit earlier. I was talking about doing extras like repairs. Quite often I've gone to do jobs, and I can't believe whoever put these vents together really looks like a DIY job. They've got all these weird elbows, for every elbow you get a restriction of airflow, and quite often you'll see things that have to be sorted out, rerouted, or retaped. I've seen people with these horrible plastic vents going from the back of the dryers to the outside, which is actually illegal in some parts of North America and certain communities to have these plastic vents, because they are very, very flammable. So you may choose to get into more of the category B, full service, where you're not only just cleaning, but you're looking for something else that you can help make an improvement to your client's existing vents. It's sort of like, going back to the analogy of the gutter cleaning. There's a guy who just goes up there and cleans it, but then there's a guy who takes a look at the water flow and says, well, this length of gutter is going the wrong direction. The water's not properly going down to the downspout. Maybe we could reroute that, or lift up the one end and make improvements there, or they might see a certain corner of a gutter that's leaking, so they'll put some caulking or glue or whatever. I haven't done the service myself, but they do the repairs as well. So that's a case of the full service. The other thing to consider is many people who do dryer vent cleaning also perform this for commercial facilities such as laundromats or large condo corporations. And you're going to need something a little bit more heavy duty than a consumer grade piece of equipment like the lint eater kit. You're going to need something, they actually have more heavy-duty versions of a rotating brush systems, but they also have what they call a reverse air sweep. It's kind of like a snake. It's actually an air hose used with a compressor in it. You snake your way through, and it does this reverse air sweep, and it kind of like flushes out backwards the air, and because of the high pressure of the air, it sort of blasts the walls of the vent and pushes it backwards. So as you're pulling the air hose back out through the vent. It just brings all the lint with it. So definitely, if you're going to go for full service, you're going to want something more than just a consumer grade piece of equipment. As far as how long it will take on a full service, I know a gentleman who's about an hour away from me, who's window cleaner first, dryer vent cleaner second, and now dryer vent cleaning is starting to take over his business because he's been getting quite a good reputation out in his area. He has been on job sites as long as 9 hours. This is a case of, he went there because the customer was complaining, poor dryer performance, and a few other little things. They were suspecting there was a problem with the venting somewhere in the walls, and ended up him going right up into the attic and just totally doing a full rerouting of the dryer vent system. And this is something that it's not for the faint of heart. If you're prepared to take this kind of service on, obviously you're going to want to be certified. You're going to want to know a little bit more about the industry and have that kind of backup. So you're going to, you can still use some of the consumer-based tools, but you're definitely going to want to bring in a lot more professional equipment and knowledge. And again, because you're going to get more invasive, you're going to be, doing even more than what a basic maintenance is. Again, you're going to want to talk to your insurance company and have them fully understand what kind of service you're performing, and making sure that it's covered, or what do you have to do to get it covered into your policy. And how to charge, it's pretty much the same thing as we always talk about. How much do you want per man hour? How much do you want to cover your back office costs, your advertising, your insurance costs, what have you? And I didn't talk, I kind of skipped over it in basic maintenance, but I'll talk about it now. Ways to market this service. Obviously, when I said at the very beginning, I said, who needs this service? And I said, everybody who you're currently servicing with window cleaning, your residential customers. All of them have dryers, obviously. And, so this is your first area to market to. And for myself, I usually would make an actual mail contact with my clients twice a year, just before the Christmas holidays and just before spring, kind of, thanking them for their past business, as well as informing them of new services that I'm running. And dryer vent was one of them. Screen repair was another one. So that's a good time to get that into their heads, thinking about this type of service, because it is definitely a needed service. It's not a want thing. It's not like I want my windows to look clean. I want to have a nice view outside. This is something that's on people's minds, letting them know that you do it, and they, sure, they're probably already trusting you. That you do a good job with their windows. Of course, you're going to do a good job. You're going to be thorough with this kind of thing. That's definitely might be a concern of theirs. And going into the winter, we're in December now, and so going into the winter, believe it or not, is actually one of the best times to start marketing this service, because getting back to the who needs it, well, we all need it, but who needs it the most? Well, first of all, large families need it more than anybody, because if you've got kids, you probably know that you do laundry a lot more than the average family or the average household. You're doing laundry a lot more, so greater chance of lint building up into the dryer vent. Going into the winter, we're wearing heavier clothes. We've got thicker blankets on the bed. Again, that going through our dryer, it's going to create lint a lot faster than other parts of the year, like July, August, when we're all in light cottons and whatnot. So marketing to your existing clients obviously is the way you want to go. If you're just doing the basic maintenance, which, going back to category A, you might just want to leave it at that. If you've got, if you're like a sole proprietor or a small company and you've got, 300 to 500, 600 customers a year, I mean, that's a very large pool to already dip into. But getting into category B, if you're going to commit to something a little bit more involved, you may want to get a bigger payoff from it. So you're going to look at different ways to, like, niche market. You might want to get a website that's fully all about dryer vent cleaning, instead of hiding that service on your other website as at the bottom of a list of things that you do. You definitely want to do some niche marketing. Of course, the free ads like Craigslist and what have you, a great way to get the word out there. Direct mailing, of course. Anything you can do to, just bring it to attention that you're doing this kind of service. Like I said, up until a few years ago, it was mostly duct cleaning services that were doing this. Your air duct, your heating, air conditioning. Now multiple service companies like window cleaning companies, power washers, carpet cleaners, they're all starting to get into the fold of doing this kind of work. And again, even though you're in the full service, you're getting into more advanced dryer vent cleaning, you still want to be kind of careful with your service description and guarantee wording. You don't want to make any promises that it's gonna put you in a liability loop. You just want to make sure that you have yourself covered. You can use wording like it aids in preventing fires, but you can't really make any strong guarantees on that, because there's a lot of things that can go into what actually causes a dryer fire that has nothing to do with what you're doing there. It's just all part of the big picture, and you want to make sure you're part of the good picture. So if we can move along to the next slide there, Jessica. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off for now with some other things to consider before adding this service to your business. Because you're dealing around dryers, which are usually in cramped basements, very tight areas, you've got to be very comfortable working in a tight area. And part of that, I mean, some people, it doesn't matter if they're thin or if they're a little bit heavy, it doesn't matter. Some people just don't like working in tight spaces. They need that open space. They get frustrated easy when they're working in a tight space. I know some people, they can work really, really hard, and then I'm really quite surprised when they're doing some general repairs in their bathroom, which is a smaller room of the house. They get very agitated, very frustrated. It's amazing the way people's personality changes when they're working in uncomfortable environments. So being able to work in a tight space is very, very important. And of course, the physicality of it. You need to be slim enough to get in behind heavy pieces of appliances. You also have to be quite agile, because there's some situations where maybe the appliance won't move out of your way just quite the way you want it to, and you have to kind of hop over it, or you have to slip in behind a weird position and twist your body. So being physically fit, doing stretches beforehand, that kind of thing. I know it seems silly to think that you have to be physically fit in such a way to do a particular home service, but it is very important, because you don't want to cause yourself an injury. You'd be ashamed that you take on this kind of service and you're not really physically up for it. There's also some added health risks. Like anything that we do, we have to make sure that we protect ourselves. And I mentioned earlier in the front that you're going to want to get things like goggles, because you're going to have this lint, fine fibers of lint floating through the air a bit. You don't want anything irritating your eyes. Of course, wearing a dust mask is very, very handy. I like to wear just thin rubber gloves when I'm working, because don't forget too, if you're taking apart not stainless steel, sheet metal ductwork at all, you can, if you're not careful, you can cut yourself on the edge of it. Anytime you're working with metal, there's a risk of getting cuts. And of course, you're working in a tight area, like I said before, and you might get a little agitated working in that tight space. So, do everything you can do to protect you. Of course, you've got to do your own research and due diligence when it comes to the legalities, the insurance, certification, safety, that kind of thing. I can only tell you from my experience, my insurance company didn't have any problem with me adding dryer vent cleaning. Other people definitely have gotten some feedback from their insurance company saying, well, we don't want to take you on as a risk for that, so we'd, if that's what you want to do, you're going to have to get insurance elsewhere. every insurance company is going to be different. So definitely look into that for yourself. I talked already a little bit about when to sell this service, winter being a very um, high time for this kind of service because people are wearing heavier clothes, heavier bed linens and what have you. Of course, drying those, you get the extra lint. Obviously, any time that you're finishing up or going to a client's house to do window cleaning or gutter cleaning, power washing, what have you, if this is something you do, you definitely want to let them know that you're doing this. Because tapping into our existing pool of clients is certainly a lot cheaper than putting a lot of money towards other advertising. Now, the equipment space needed in your work vehicle, it's very important to think about this too, because I mentioned even the basic equipment, these, a consumer grade dryer vent cleaning kit, shop vac, and a few other tools like a bag of tools or what have you. It's still going to take up a few square feet in a vehicle, and so you're going to have to think, is this something that you're going to want to already have planned out before you leave the house, that you're going to be doing some dryer vent cleaning, or is this something that you might, always want to have the equipment with you so that when you are at a client's house, you can definitely, make the recommendation that it gets done, and they might want to do it right on the spot. So you kind of have to decide for yourself whether or not you're going to be prepared to do that, or if you're going to just leave all this equipment at home and only load it up into the truck or car or whatever you're driving. So, I mean, as you can see, there's a lot to think about getting into dryer vent cleaning. The only drawback is compared to window cleaning and gutter cleaning is it does seem to be a bit more involved. There does seem to be a little bit more of a concern when it comes to your insurance company. But one of the major pluses is that even to do the basic cleaning, it's relatively cheap to get into. It's something that everybody needs. It doesn't take a lot of time, like I said, half an hour, 40 minutes on most jobs. And you can decide how involved you want to get into the dryer vent cleaning. You can just do the basic maintenance and you'll be satisfying your existing client base. Or you could actually turn this into another mini business for yourself. So there you have it. That's my couple of years of experience with dryer vent cleaning. Like I said in the front, I didn't want to go into too much about how to do the service because it's actually pretty simple. I more or less wanted to give you a lot of other points about things to think about and how to incorporate it into your business. So
okay,
all.
Great. We want to thank you so much, Mark, for doing this presentation for us. We really appreciate it. And thank everyone for watching, and that'll be the end of the webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.